But how does everyone else travel all the time whenever they want? Just imagine for a few seconds that you're able to go wherever you want to travel, whenever you want, for as long as you want. We've been blessed for the last 10 years to be able to live this lifestyle. In today's video, I'm going to show you how we do that and how you can do it too. Hi, my name is Aaron and this is Plan Free, the channel that illustrates a location-independent lifestyle and shows you how to get it. If you're new to the channel and you like what we're talking about here, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the blue bell icon so you always know when the next video is coming out. When it comes to traveling the world full-time on a budget or with little money, the lifestyle is built on two foundational ideas. One is how you're making money, and the second is how you're making your money go further. We'll explore those two different points and show you how to create a full-time freedom lifestyle. Now, regarding making money, there's the old tried and true that a lot of people will use, and that is working a part-time or a full-time job.
Welcome to Baskin Robbins. Would you like to try our mango fruit blast?
Living below your means, saving up a bunch of money, and then going and spending that money on a trip. While many people have used this technique effectively to travel the world in short-term durations, when you want to graduate to traveling full-time, you'll have to move on to different ways of creating income. You'll have to remove the location dependence manner of how you make money. You'll now want to search out income producing methods that you could produce from anywhere in the world. One idea of location independent incomes might be to monetize a skill that you already have in a freelance manner. Whether that skill be writing or life coach, fitness, nutritional guidance, photography.
Come on, Austin, give it to me. Go. Obi.
You could monetize these skills through a website like Fiverr. This video isn't sponsored by Fiverr, but I guess it could be. I'm sure there are many other skills that I left out that you could monetize in a location independent manner, and many other websites in addition to the one that I mentioned. If there are any digital nomads out there that are successfully monetizing skills, go ahead and add them to the comments below on what's working for you currently, and let's start the conversation. Further to point number one, seek out and learn ways to make money online. And that could be anything from teaching English online. You could create informative content on a platform like, I don't know, YouTube or something. You could start your own product line, offer tech support, fashion consultant.
Cancel. It's so hot right now.
There is really no limitation outside of our imagination here. Once you've begun to create location independent income sources, you can turbocharge your freedom by living below your means. What that means is spending less income than you're producing, and this will really magnify the amount of freedom you can enjoy and the duration of time you can enjoy it for. And that note leads me to the second kind of foundational idea on how to build a location independent lifestyle and be able to travel the world full-time on a budget if you want to. And that idea is, how do we make our money go further? And like I just mentioned, once we begin to spend less than we make, it creates a perpetual savings account, and in our case, a perpetual traveling account. Creates a buffer so that if our income ever fluctuates for any reason, we have a little bit of an insurance policy in place where we can just keep enjoying a full-time travel lifestyle if that's what we want to do. In the area of stretching our dollars and making our money go further, there's three kind of main travel expenses that we want to pay attention to trying to reduce everywhere that we can. We're going to seek out savings in these areas. The first and largest of these areas is transportation. How to get from point A to point B. First and foremost, let's talk about flights. You always want to give some time and attention in attempting to reduce the cost of your flights. I'll give you some brief suggestions on how to do this, but likely we'll create a whole separate video going into more detail on how to reduce your costs on flight expenses. Some of the tips we've learned along the way throughout the years is the longer you can purchase your flight in advance, the better prices you will receive. So if you can shop early, if you know you're going somewhere, do that to save money. Another technique is to utilize low cost or discount airlines and or websites. In our region, we use a website called Cheapo Air, and I know other travelers from different parts of the world talk about other websites. So if any of you out there are listening to this and you use websites in addition to Cheapo Air to get discount on your flights, go ahead and please add them in the comments below to help the other people out as well. When you are on these websites, if you have the ability to open an incognito window so that the websites cannot track the region that you're shopping from. This can also be a money saver. Obviously, a VPN would go even further in helping you do this. Once you've arrived in your destination, there's going to be on-ground transportation costs that you'd want to attempt to save money on. So things like taxis, buses, private transportation, rickshaws, whatever it may be, boats. You always want to shop around and see if you can reduce your costs on those transportation methods. There's a few ways that we've done this over the years, and honestly, most of the credit here would go to my wife in that she's very friendly and she makes instant friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
Many times we've been in an airport and it's obvious that there's a group of people going to the same place we are, and she'll offer to split a taxi or share the costs in an excursion, and this greatly reduces the cost for us and for them, so it's a win-win. Oftentimes when we book an Airbnb or a private apartment, she'll also ask them, oh, does it come with a pickup and drop off to and from the airport? And many times these people will agree to that, even though it's not really included in their ad. And it's another way for us to save money. Further to this, when the opportunity presents itself, we are going to choose options that are less expensive. So for example, we will choose a taxi if that's the only option. But if there are other options, for example, like ride-sharing apps or other private apps that are less expensive, we will choose that. When we lived in Bali for 5 months, for example, there was a few different options for transportation. Taxi was probably one of the most expensive. Then you would graduate down to a Gojek or a Grab. A car would be less expensive than a taxi. Going one step further, if only one of us had to go somewhere, let's say the grocery store, we might use Grab or Gojek for a scooter. So the driver shows up, you jump on the back of the scooter.
I can get 70 miles to the gallon on this hog.
And that's another way to save even more on transportation. Oftentimes in your destinations, you'll want to go on these popular excursions to some of the most desirable tourist destinations. And frequently that involves hiring a private driver. Well, again, along this idea, if you can share that private driver with 1 or 2 more people, hopefully that you get along with, you can share out the costs, creating a win-win for everybody, and also everyone saves at the same time. Another example is, let's say you're landing at an airport, but your final destination is 6, 8, 10 hours away. Oftentimes you can get like pre-arranged transportation from the airport to your final destination. But one thing that's helped us save a lot of money over the years is we'll check to see if there's a bus line running. We've specifically taken advantage of this in the 2 times we lived in Costa Rica and the 1 time we lived in Panama, where we saved hundreds of dollars going with the public bus line route than we would have going over the taxi or the Uber route from the airport to our destination. All right, last tip on ground-based transportation is if you're staying in a country or location for months at a time, consider buying a car or scooter and reselling it at the end of your stay. We've done this several times over the years. We've done it in Panama, in Honduras, we've done it in Curacao and Aruba. We've purchased these vehicles, driven them for the time that we've stayed, and then resold them back to someone living there at the end of our stay. Oftentimes we're able to acquire transportation for 6 months for sometimes no money at all, depending on what we resell it for, or sometimes it costs us a few $100s for 6 months worth of transportation through buying it privately. So keep that in your toolbox. The second area of travel related expenses that you'd want to look to save money within is accommodations. So first and foremost, now that you're going to be traveling the world for longer durations and maybe even full time, you'd want to sort of get away from the resorts and the hotels. These kind of places are fantastic for someone that's going on holidays for 10 days or 2 weeks and they just want to like unplug, decompress, and be waited on for the time that they're on holidays. Maybe that's their only holiday for the year. But for you, staying longer for months, maybe years, maybe ongoing, that's an absolute guaranteed way to obliterate your budget and your money and go broke. So we're going to get off of the hotels and the resorts and we're going to start to explore other more economical options for accommodations that exist out there. Obviously, hostels have been very popular and they've been around a while, so chances are you've heard of them, or there's probably 1,000,005 videos about them on YouTube, so I won't go into detail on those here. Another option that's become very popular is couch surfing. And I think there's a website of that name that you can check out. And essentially what it is or means is that someone offers you an extra piece of furniture or an extra room for free and offer you accommodations that way while you're staying in their country. If there's any of you out there that have had experiences with hostels and couch surfing, positive ones that you'd like to share in the comment section, go ahead and do so and help the other people that might be considering these methods. Again, the overall idea in this section of saving money on travel expenses is going to be moving from the hotels and the resorts, moving away from those into more local and private accommodations like apartments, suites, spare rooms, house sitting arrangements, guest suites or guest houses. Casitas are very popular in Central America. Another option for some of you might be the house sitting arrangement. There are several websites out there in our region anyway that you pay a small fee annually to be a member of, and it basically matches up people that are looking to have someone come in, supervise, and take care of their home while they're away with people that have the flexibility and the willingness to do that. So it's a win-win scenario. A couple of the websites that we've been a member of for a while in our region would be mindmyhouse.com and trustedhousesitters.com. You may have different house sitting websites in your region. In fact, if there's any of you out there that have done house sitting in the past and know of some other websites that I didn't mention, go ahead and add them in the comments below. From a personal experience standpoint, Lori and I have had multiple positive experiences house sitting for a variety of time frames. We've done house sits anywhere from 4 days to 6 months. So for example, we did a 6-month house sit in Costa Rica. We also did a 6-month house sit in Panama, where we looked after kind of a farm scenario for 6 months. We've also done many shorter duration house sits. For example, we did 3 different house sits in Australia last year for anywhere between, I think it was about 1 to 3 weeks. I will say a couple of things about house sitting that I think it's important for you to know. Essentially what you're doing in most cases is you're actually pet sitting for people. So it could just as easily be called trustedpetsitters.com. I'm not sure we've ever even seen a house sit offer that didn't include pets. And so you'd want to be aware of the probability of that going into it. The other thing you'd want to do is sort of know your value and your worth before you're entering into discussions on the house sitting arrangement. Some, but not all homeowners are going to try to see how much they can get from you in exchange for free housing and accommodations. You'd want to sort of be mindful of how much time and effort you want to be putting into their home arrangement above and beyond looking after their pets in exchange for free housing. What this does is create the ability to negotiate on a one-to-one basis on how many things you'd be willing to do in exchange for housing for free before you would start to discuss perhaps being paid for doing some of the services that the homeowners are asking. And the customization of the house sitting arrangements allow for this flexibility. So you can negotiate a lot of the times and come up with something that's a win-win for both parties. Over the years, we had to learn the hard way a little bit. What was sort of our limit of free services that we would provide for homeowners, and when and what point we would start to ask for remuneration. Early on in our house sitting experience, we were accepting basically all offers because it was new and awesome. But we've learned over time to become a little bit more choosy and picky when it comes to accepting house sits and knowing what your limitations are. Because remember, your goal is to travel and enjoy the world full-time, not be managing and supervising someone's property full-time. What other techniques are you all using out there currently that is reducing your expenses on your accommodation costs when it comes to traveling the world full-time? All right, the third main point where you can look to reduce your traveling costs is going to be food. And it's a similar idea to accommodations where you'd want to be mindful and move away from restaurants and resort food choices and more into local type food choices. It's kind of like when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But in this case, it's like go to where the locals are eating and eat there. If you begin to eat like a local and eat what they're eating, you'll save big time money on your food costs. So sort of tying in with your accommodations, a lot of the times now, because you're staying for a longer time and you've secured private accommodations, they'll oftentimes come with a kitchen. And in fact, that's another little tip for you is look for accommodations that you can cook food in. Cooking your own food in your own accommodations will be a big money saver for you. Explore the markets and the grocery stores that the locals favor and do your grocery shopping there. Find out where the most popular street food is that's favored by the locals. Try it out. Usually it's some of the best food available in the whole country. And again, oftentimes it's a very economic alternative to eating out in a fancy restaurant. Now, if you've got the means to go ahead and eat out in fancy restaurants all the time while you're traveling the world, by all means go ahead and do that. But for most of us, eating out and enjoying a restaurant will be an infrequent luxury. And most of the time we'll be concentrating on shopping and eating local, preparing our own meals. And these things add up to huge savings, allowing us to enjoy more travel for a longer time. Another option for you to consider as far as getting you to these international places that you'd like to travel on a very low cost is consider identifying organizations that you can volunteer for that will accommodate you and feed you in exchange for your volunteer efforts once you get there. Lori and I haven't personally done this, but I think it's probably a very effective way to reduce your costs in relation to traveling. If any of you out there are listening to this and you've had positive experiences with volunteering in international locations, please go ahead and add them to the comments below so that other people can learn from your experiences. As I mentioned before, we've had the good fortune of living a location-independent lifestyle for 10 years and counting now, using the techniques that I've talked about in the video. My name is Aaron and this is Plan Free. If you like what we're talking about on this channel, click the like button, subscribe, and click the blue bell icon so you always know when the next video is coming out. If you got some value out of the things we talked about, please consider sharing this video on your personal Facebook page. Perhaps someone else could value from it as well. Thanks again for watching. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you again soon in the next video. Bye for now.
This is John Mack here. Thanks for tuning back into my channel. Today in this video I wanted to talk about how you can start working online, break free actually. Start to create your own income and start claiming that freedom you wanted to have. So I wanted to visit a really nice, bright, clean barista coffee shop, the Barista Hotel. usually go for an Americano. So you are currently at a place in life now where you're truly looking for a breakout so you can have more freedom. You want to travel more. The world has changed, and you notice that the conventional methods of life is not working out as it should. So you want to have another method of making an income so you can travel, you can have more freedom, you can explore the world, you can explore your own life. And today I wanted to just share a couple of methods on how I do that and how you can do that too to have more freedom. So the number one thing that I wanted to mention first of all that you need is the mindset. And the mindset and the way you are programmed in your mind to make different choices every day will determine your path forward from today. If you have a dream about making something out of some skills that you have in life, I am pretty sure that school is not necessarily what you need to become happy and have freedom and make an income. Whatever you want to do in life right now, forget about school. Focus on yourself instead, your self-development and self-education, and take advantage, on some of the available tools and life hacks and methods to get what you want in life instead now. Having the right mindset is the first thing I want to mention, because with the right programming, the right motivation, and the right mindset, it will take you far. And maybe you don't even believe or think that you can maybe live the life that I do right now. I know a lot of people looking at my videos and when they ask questions, I know even some people are pissed off because I can lay down by the poolside and do work I love, and it looks like a dream life. And I would say in a way it is. This is kind of the lifestyle that I wanted, and I live it now, and I know how to do it and make things happen. But I also know that a lot of other people want to have the same kind of lifestyle because people are tired of the shitty conventional systems when it comes to education and work. So they want other methods to live a life of happiness, a purpose, and to be able to travel and do something out of the personal skills and personal capacities that they have. So make sure that you start to connect with the right kind of motivation, you connect with the right kind of people, consider your closest network of friends and family, because they can actually impact you negatively. So to be able to maintain the right mindset, make sure that you attract the right kind of people and the right kind of motivation. Two things for you that you can start doing from today. One of the things is a way of making an income, the way I have done that for many years, and I'm going to share with you right now. My way of making an income to have the freedom that I wanted is by creating websites for people, for small businesses, both back home in Norway, where it all started, and also around the world. Creating websites, becoming a web designer does not need any kind of schooling or formal education. Nope. You do not need to be a programmer. You do not need to be a web designer, designer, to become a web designer. And that's two big myths that I have started to point out many times. So picture yourself on the go, traveling to somewhere remote where you would like to visit, and still bringing the work with you. The only thing you need to create websites is an internet connection, where you'll find that now almost everywhere. You could even just hook up your phone. Data is usually pretty cheap right now, and you need a laptop, and that way you can start to make websites and you can get pretty well paid with that. Becoming a web designer is something I started many years ago. I've been combining that with doing filmmaking, and I have continued to do that to hone my skills. I became a Shopify partner, I became a Shopify expert, and I now work with Shopify customers and WordPress customers, and I set up websites for them. And it's a pretty sweet way of making an income, because you can also grow your passive income. The thing with web design in 2020, actually the last years, is that you do not need to know programming anymore. I want to make a point on that topic. So if you think you need to learn programming, you don't even need to know design. You do not need any education around design or graphic design or anything like that. You can still easily become a web designer and create websites and get well paid, and that's one of my main kind of wish for you to take away today, if you're looking for ways to make an income online and build up something to give you more freedom in life. I noticed that more and more people are struggling to find a way to break out of the conventional systems, to travel more, to have more freedom, and kind of creating their own income in a way. And I have a lot of information to share with people about that. So I created a course. It's called the Web Designer Side Hustle, and it's basically taking you through everything you need to know to become a web designer and get well paid from clients all around the world. The course is available now. I'm going to promote it here now because I am currently working on version 2.0 after all the feedback I've been getting from the first members in my tribe, and also students in the course. So I'm doing a lot of improvement to be a lot more specific on different things that people have questions about. What can you expect from the course? Well, I'm going through everything that you need to start, everything from the beginning. You move on to how to get paid online, to set up a professional invoicing system, how your customers can pay you with credit cards, how to get your money straight into your account, what type of new virtual online slick banking systems I recommend you use. I'm going through the workflow of starting the conversation with the client, what tools to use, what project management systems to use. I'm giving away a lot of tips and advice on the best plugins. And my course is focused on WordPress because that's very easy to start with. And I think it will be amazing how easy and how fast you can create pretty slick and beautiful websites basically in a few hours. And then you will have a call with your client, you can show them your website, and they will love you for it and can pay you for it. I think the best thing for you is just go to my website and get started on that blueprint. It's a simple ebook for you to read through, and it sums up how you will be working as a web designer and what kind of tools you will be using. Whew. Well, that was a nice place to work. So I'll be back there. I like places like this that have kind of a open space, bright, white, clean setup, almost like an Apple store. I think I spent 3 hours from that coffee shop getting shit done. Okay, so let's recap on today's video. I was talking about how you can find and create more freedom for yourself by creating your own income. It's very popular especially for people in my tribe that are kind of more awake and aware of the state of the planet. They do not so easily agree with the conventional systems of education and work, and they just want freedom. They want to travel more, create more, explore more and figure out life's deeper sides, I would say. And people like us, we want to create income on our own terms, and that's, I guess, why I live the lifestyle that I do. So how do you do that? Well, one of the methods is that you start creating websites for people. And creating websites is usually, when I coach people that want to make a change in life, creating websites is one of the easiest way you can start making an income for yourself. Okay, so one last thing I wanted to mention quickly to help you out this spring of 2020 after the lockdown. I haven't announced this before, but this time during the lockdown I had to come up with something to help more people at one time. Normally, you know, online training, online coaching, one-on-one coaching especially, is pretty expensive for people. So I wanted to create kind of a tribe where more awake and aware people can come together and work with me directly, get my, you know, my best advice, my motivational content, and kind of a platform where I can teach people how to break out, grow their confidence, becoming, you know, stay more up to date with the current state of the planet for people who really want to know what's going on, and combine that into a platform where I can teach people how to start an online business. And we will focus on how you can use your best innate skills, maybe even some personal qualities that you haven't even discovered yet, how you can create your online platform to be visible, how you can start to get paid, and use that community with other people to you know, find a new path in life for you to have more freedom and create the income you want, and finally get out and travel more. I call it the tribe. So if you want to take that for a spin, I'm doing a short promotion now before I fully launch this. I want to test it out. It has a ridiculously low cost, but I'm making it available for more people that want to, you know, work with me in a tribe with other cool people, become more awake and aware, and start creating an income machine for to support their freedom. If you have any questions, you should get in touch with me before you sign up. This tribe is not for everybody. It's for people who, you know, really want to. They want to join a tribe of like-minded people that want to really grow their personal skills, become more awake and aware, and really want to focus on their freedom, you know, to create something for themselves.
Today's video is about how you don't need to go out and buy one of those crazy expensive van setups. You can actually convert the car that you have today with a small amount of expense into a road trip ready machine. These are some of the tips and tricks that we learned from 4 months of being on the road. Going on a 4-month road trip was bar none the best decision I have made in my entire life. One of the key factors in making a long-term road trip super affordable is lowering your sleeping costs, because aside from food, sleeping is gonna be your next major cost. Some of these campsites can get up to like $30, $40 a night, and if you're on the road for months, that adds up insanely fast. So if you're new to the channel, we actually built a sleeping platform in the back of the RAV, and you can check out a bit more details on that in the previous video I made. But the basic gist of it is that it's a platform that's raised up from the base of the car, and it folds out so that we can have a comfortable sleep, because I'm like 6 feet tall. I can't like curl up in the back of a car and sleep like that for 4 months. It's not gonna work out. So it's just wood with hinges that folds out, and I have to admit, this was a lifesaver. Being able to sleep in your car every night means you're not only sleeping free, but the accessibility of free places to sleep just skyrockets. I'm gonna make a video on this in the future about how we found free campsites, but when you're sleeping in your car versus sleeping in a tent, or even paying for car camping at these campsites, you can sleep in Walmart parking lots, you can sleep in truck rest stops, you can boondock in forests and on crown land. It just blows your opportunities for sleeping out of the water compared to some of the other options. One of the major things we noticed when we first tested out the sleeping platform though was that we needed a bit more privacy. You're gonna be sleeping in your car, and odds are if you're on the road for a while, your car becomes kind of your safe haven. It's the only space that's really yours, and so you want to be able to kind of close yourself off to the world at the end of the day and feel like you're not only safe, but you also have a good amount of privacy. To solve this issue, we actually went out to the dollar store and bought shower curtains, which probably costs around $2 each, and we also got some hemp rope. So every night what we would do is, once we had the bed set up and we were on the inside, we would set up these curtains, and this was a super cheap way to give us some privacy from the rest of the world. I remember at one point, I don't know if you guys have seen the website, the people of Walmart, where people are just wearing ridiculous things. I feel like I have a better understanding of those people now, at least if they were road tripping. I remember waking up one morning and my hair was like everywhere. I just looked like Chewbacca, and I was in like my boxers with no shirt on, standing in the middle of this Walmart parking lot. So privacy is important for sure. Another thing is, if you are traveling in the summer, cars get really hot on the inside, so you're gonna need some kind of ventilation of some sort. At the beginning of the trip, we decided to just crack the windows until we got to our first destination, which was Killarney. And if you're from Ontario, you know that Killarney is the worst place for mosquitoes and black flies. So we would crack the windows at night and there would be flies and mosquitoes getting into the car, just these little buzzing demons, and they just chewed us up. Elena at one point had like bites all on her face, like swollen lymph nodes, some kind of like black fly fever. It was not a good time. So as soon as we got to the next town, we went out and bought these bug screens and this weatherproof Velcro, and that allowed us to attach screens on the inside of the windows. So that way, if it was ever hot in the car at night, we could crack the windows and we could have the peace of mind knowing that bugs weren't getting in and eating us alive at night. So that was another key tip that was super important and just made sleeping in the car that much more enjoyable. I highly recommend it. Third tip, fourth tip, I don't know what tip I'm on now, but if you have gone on a road trip before for more than a weekend, you know that it is a tiny space, and with tiny spaces comes the problem of organization. It only takes like one morning of disorganization and your entire mobile home is just covered in all kinds of clothes, like utensils, toiletry stuff is everywhere. It just gets gnarly so fast. What we found super helpful on the road trip was having some kinds of bins or totes to store all of this stuff in, and we could kind of categorize or literally compartmentalize all our different stuff. We went out to Home Depot and bought these, I think they're like 70 something liter blue totes. They cost around $6 each. By the way, I'll link anything that's available on Amazon below if you guys are interested in buying it. But yeah, these things were probably like $5 each and they were a lifesaver. So we had one bin for our foods. Let's be honest, it was mostly ramen. In the other bin, we had our cooking utensils for cooking more ramen. In the third bin, we had our clothes. And in the fourth bin, we had our toiletries. And these all fit nicely. I actually designed the sleeping platform around these bins, so that way we could slide them in and out depending on what we needed. This was amazing for food because if you're getting hungry, and we both get hangry real quick, and it fighting on the road is not a good thing. So we needed quick access to that food, whether it's just trail mix or something to tide us over, or whether we're cooking. Having the bin slide in and out was super handy and avoided a lot of those hangry situations. So all in all, with all these things put together, we not only had an amazing amount of space left over in the car to throw all of our stuff in, but we also had a very safe and comfortable place to sleep at the end of the day when you're tired coming back from hikes and you just want your privacy. You know, sometimes we would crawl in and we would just set up the curtains and we'd watch like Netflix on your phone, because when you're living on the road, you need those creature comforts to keep you happy and just raise the spirits from time to time. So when you throw all of these tips together, you get a sweet road tripping rig for what was probably around $200, maybe $250 at most. It's way, way more affordable than going out and buying a Westfalia. And I've seen this setup accomplished in a Honda Fit, and that was actually when I first decided that I wanted to make a sleeping platform, was because I saw it done in a tiny car, so I knew it was possible pretty much in any car at that point. Anyways, I hope you guys like seeing this road trip setup. I hope it gave you guys a little bit of information and inspiration so you can get out on the road, because it is absolutely life-changing and I would recommend it to anyone. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It means a ton to me. And if you want to see more of our road trip, I actually vlogged every single day of it, so I'll link it up here. And I'm still ongoing with these. I think I have like a month left of editing to do for these vlogs, so there's still gonna be plenty of new content. So hit that subscribe button, follow along, and most of all, happy hiking, guys.
Many people desire to travel, but think that it is too expensive and therefore completely unattainable to them. But the good news is there are inexpensive ways to travel on a budget, where we can still expand our minds, travel sustainably, and give back to the communities that we pass through. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend Melika, who's going to share a handful of websites that she uses in order to travel on a budget sustainably and give back to the communities.
Hey everyone, this is Melika from Iran. I have been traveling and volunteering around Latin America for 2.5 years. And right now I'm in a small village called Jaibalito in Guatemala. Today I want to talk a little bit about volunteering, why volunteer, different types of volunteering, and I want to introduce you some websites where you can find volunteer opportunities all around the world. What does it mean to volunteer? To volunteer means to help, to freely offer to do something. When we volunteer, we learn and practice not to expect from other people. People volunteer for so many different reasons. They volunteer because it feels good. They volunteer because it's good for their career. They volunteer to develop a sense of purpose and motivation. And so many people, including me, volunteer for their personal growth. Because the more opportunities you take to learn new skills and to gain knowledge, the more you develop as a person. When I wanted to start this journey, one of my friends asked me, why would you like to go around Latin America and do what you do for free? Why would you like to work with children for free? There's a quote that says that volunteers are not paid, not because they are worthless, but because they are priceless. Yes, when you volunteer, you're donating your time, energy, and knowledge. And in return, you are getting accommodation and food, but beyond that, you're getting a lot more. You're getting experiences that are good for your mind, body, and soul. You are learning new skills, you are learning new languages, you're developing purpose, you are building self-confidence, and you cannot buy these experiences with money. Volunteering has a power to change your life in many different ways. When you use your time and vacation days to volunteer, you're opening yourself up to new experiences. Breaking your cultural barriers and extending your comfort zone makes you grow as an individual. I want to introduce you 10 different types of volunteering today. You can volunteer at NGOs, non-governmental organizations. You can volunteer in different schools all around the world and work with children. You can join different families, which is the best way to dive deep into a new culture. You can join different communities all around the world. You can do house sitting and take care of people's houses while they're away. That's basically what I'm doing right now. If you are into sailing, or if you're eager to learn and don't have any experiences, you can join different boats all around the world. And you can do animal welfare and pet sitting, which you learn about different kinds of animals. And there's so many different permaculture projects, farm stays, and sustainable projects where you can join. I'm going to introduce you some websites, and the first one is workaway.info. I have been using this website for 2.5 years now, and I love it because it has different types of volunteering. It has a subscription of $44 for an individual and $56 for 2 people, and it's valid for 1 year. It works well for me because, for example, when I'm a long-term volunteer and a non-stop traveler, and for example I want to volunteer at some schools for some months and then I want to change and volunteer at a farm, I can use the same websites and the same membership to volunteer at different kinds of projects. Another thing that I love about Workaway is that you can find other Workawayers around you by location. I have used this option and I have found so many amazing people. And if you introduce Workaway to a friend and they sign up using the link that you gave them, you can extend your membership for 3 more months, which is nice. To be a Workawayer means to work 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, in exchange for accommodation and food. Sometimes the hosts offer you only accommodation and they ask you to work for less hours, and sometimes they offer you a wage if you work for more hours. The second website is woof.net, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. I have used this website in Argentina. It was like I volunteered at a farm with 14 llamas. I didn't know anything about sustainable building and growing my own food, and it was just a life-changing experience. First, when you want to use woof.net, first you have to choose which country you want to go and become a woofer at. So first you have to choose the country, and the membership and the subscription depends on the country. It can be anything from $0 to $72. To give you an example, if you want to go and become a woofer in Canada, it's a subscription of $50 for an individual and $75 for 2 people, and it's valid for 2 years. Woofing is for permaculture lovers, for the ones who want to learn more about growing their own food and they want to make sustainable changes in their lives. I really recommend this website. The third website is worldpackers.com. It's also very easy to use it. Somehow similar to Workaway, different types of volunteering. It has different types of membership. They have Worldpacker Academy, Worldpacker Trips, and Worldpacker Pack. But if you want to be able to contact the hosts and you choose Worldpacker Trips, for example, it's a subscription of $49 and it's valid for 1.5 years. I have had many friends that use this website and they really liked it. The fourth website is helpx.net. I have really close friends that use this website and they volunteered in Australia. That's how I got to know about this website. You can become a member of helpx.net for free, so it has a free membership, but only the hosts are able to contact you. So if you want to be able to contact the hosts, you have to upgrade yourself to a premier membership which is 20 euros, and it's valid for 2 years for both individual and twin memberships, which is, this website is cheaper than the other websites. There's so many different websites for volunteering out there, so many different non-profit organizations. People have their own websites for their own project and they get volunteers from their own websites. I can just name a few, like hayavolunteer.com, volunteermatch.org, volunteeraluganda.com, which is in Africa, and a lot more. So you just have to search and learn how to use the websites, and then make a profile for yourself, find your perfect host, and just get going. Another thing, so many people ask me, why should we use these websites? Why can't we just go out and find hosts? Because I've seen so many travelers that they just go out, go traveling, they ask around, and they join a hostel or a farm or a family. Well, I really recommend it for safety, especially if you're a solo traveler or if you're a female traveler. I think it's safer to use these websites to volunteer around the world because of the references and the reviews. When I want to contact the host, I see the reviews and I see how other people felt, how other travelers felt when they were living with this family for a while. And which is very, very rare, but if you have a bad experience, you can honestly write about your experience with that host and let other travelers know how you felt while living with that people. And also, if a host doesn't feel good with the volunteer, they can honestly write a review about that volunteer, and this makes the whole community way safer. So when I see the reviews, I feel safer to contact the host when I see how other travelers felt while being with that host. I really hope that we can all go out and have wonderful experiences volunteering all around the world, and I hope that this information was useful for you. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
I hope that you have found Melika's experience and knowledge to be very helpful to you if you are desiring to travel on a budget. Check the links in the description in order to follow her as well as read more of her work. And make sure to subscribe to this channel where there are many more inspirational and educational videos to come. I love you all very much, and I'll see you again real soon.
Hola Unconventionals, I'm Amelia.
And I'm JP.
And we are both expats who work online from Cuenca, Ecuador.
Yes, we are. And because of that, we get a lot of questions about how to make money living abroad. And we're going to talk about that in this episode. It might be easier than you think, but it might not be what you think. Before we jump into the video, we want to give a big shout out to our unconventional producers, Michael and Melissa from Longmont, Colorado. Hola guys, thank you so much for your support.
Yes, thank you so much. We are truly appreciative, and we're appreciative to all of our patrons.
If you're thinking about becoming an expat, or you just want to follow our crazy expat adventure here in South America, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell.
Ring the bell.
So you get notified about our upcoming videos. And today's video, we're going to talk about how to make money living abroad. That's a question we get a lot.
We do.
And one of the first things people ask is, can I get a job there?
Well, you can, maybe.
Maybe.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, there are several things you got to think about. The first is local language fluency. You got to be able to speak Spanish if you want a job at a business.
Exactly.
Yeah, because most people, even though in Cuenca there are a lot of English-speaking locals, the majority of people still don't speak English. So the majority of customers only speak Spanish. So you're going to have to be able to interact with customers, clients, vendors, managers, your fellow employees, and they'll all be speaking in Spanish. So there are options also to teach English or your native language in schools here.
Right.
But the pay is like $4 to $5 an hour, which is like $800 a month before taxes.
Yeah, they don't pay. The bottom line is the wages are just going to be lower here because the cost of living is so much lower.
Yeah.
So you have to realize that if you want to get a job in Ecuador, you're going to be paid at Ecuador rates.
Yes. The next thing to think about is the type of visa that you get. Now, there's some visas that allow you to work here, some that require you to work here, and some that prevent you from working here. And this is just Ecuador. Other countries have different laws around their visa types. So we're here on a visa that allows us to work here if we wanted to, but we don't. We choose to work online for companies back in the States.
Right.
The other thing to think about is that if you earn income locally, you also have to pay local taxes. So that means you're going to be filing tax returns in Spanish, which might be a little challenging.
It could be.
You know, you have to have an accountant probably help you with that.
I would recommend that.
So, you know, it's going to cost you more money, and then it's more hassle too.
Right.
The last thing under the job category is the low pay. We kind of mentioned this before. The minimum wage in Ecuador, and this is kind of the same throughout Latin America, the minimum wage here is $394 per month. That comes out to $2.46 an hour.
That's a big difference.
That's not a lot of money.
No, it's not a lot of money for anybody. It's not a lot here.
No, it's not here. You definitely could not live on $400 a month before taxes.
No, it would be,
No, because you have to have insurance. You know,
I don't know how you would do it.
Employer might provide that, but it would be tough to live here on that.
Unless you already have it arranged with your visa, I would not come here thinking you're going to find a high-paying job.
No, nope. Part of that's because of the stiff competition too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people coming here from Venezuela and they need work.
And they speak Spanish fluently.
They do speak Spanish. They're Venezuelan.
So they're going to edge out somebody who doesn't speak Spanish fluently.
Right.
So if your dream of becoming an expat hinges on you finding a job abroad, you might want to think about a plan B, just to be safe.
Yes. It's always a good idea to have a plan B.
Yeah. So if finding a job isn't really realistic, what is? So now we're going to talk about how to make money living abroad. And the very first thing and the easiest thing to do, and what Amelia has done, is work remotely for your current employer.
Yes.
If it's an option. It's not an option for everyone, but it is an option for a lot more people that realize it. If you're an office worker and you do all of your work online, there's a good chance that your boss might go for, you know, the reduced expenses of you not being in the office.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
It doesn't. Amelia worked about 20% of the time in the office before we left Denver, and about 80% at home. So it was kind of easy for her to just say, I need to be 100% virtual. And they said, okay.
Right.
Thankfully.
Yes.
Very thankful for that.
Yes, we are very thankful.
Yeah. And everybody asks what Amelia does. So she manages the CRM systems and what
I manage
manufacturer
scheduling
visits.
And I manage incentives and things like that.
Sales stuff.
But it's all on more the operational side.
Yeah.
So I was able to do all of that remotely. I don't need to have the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah. And I also work online. I do web design, although I'm not really taking on new clients now as our vlog is taking off and it's taking so much of my time. I don't have time for new clients, but I still maintain all of my old client websites. And I get monthly recurring revenue. They pay me to manage their websites. They all have WordPress websites, and I manage those, keep them updated, and make updates for them each month. And that's how I earn my income. If the job that you have now doesn't lend itself to being a remote work, you can search for other jobs on a website called flexjobs.com. And they have all kinds of remote working and alternative working arrangement type jobs. So you can do things, you know, for somebody else that is fine with you being 100% virtual. The next way to make money living abroad is with online gigs.
What do you mean by a gig? I feel like a gig is like a band performance at the bar.
It's the gig economy, dear.
Oh, okay.
So a gig is basically you're doing a freelance job. It's a finite period or project. You do it and you get paid for it and it's over. The key to gigs is really to convert that into recurring revenue, though, because a lot of times the gigs don't pay very well in and of themselves.
I see.
So
okay.
Like web design is a gig, like building a website might be a gig. And that's what I do. I've been building websites for almost 25 years. And we used to make a lot of money doing it, but not so much anymore because of all the low cost labor from countries like India and Pakistan and Russia. It's really hard to compete with them.
Yeah. And the fact that you can build your own website if you wanted to.
Yeah, there are a lot of build your own sites too. So it's a tough business now. And the websites, you can't charge nearly what we used to. So the key in web design is to really get people on board for managed web hosting or social media management, recurring revenue stream.
I see.
So web design's a loss leader.
But you certainly can do the online gigs to make extra money.
Well, yeah, I'm going to get to the ones that are better options. Web
Okay.
design is not a great option for making money online these days.
Okay.
What a really good option is content writing. If you're a good writer, you can write content for websites. There's a website called constantcontent.com. And a few years ago, I wanted to test that out. I submitted a couple of business articles to them, and somebody bought them for $80. And it took me about 4 hours to write them. So that was about $20 an hour that I earned on that.
Yeah, that's good. I'd
Yeah.
forgotten you'd done that.
Yeah, so there are other websites like that where you can submit content and people will buy it. And you can also find writing gigs on Fiverr.com. And I'll put links to all of these websites in the blog post, so go check that out. Also, International Living. If you move abroad, International Living pays $350 up to that amount for articles if they print your articles. So a lot of people submit articles to them and other websites like those about their experiences living abroad, and they make money that way. And social media manager is another type of job that you can do, and that's nice because it's usually a recurring revenue stream. And what you do basically is you manage business social media accounts. And if you're good on social media and you know how to get eyeballs on posts, this is probably a good option for you.
There's a lot of companies out there that are looking for
That need that.
help.
Because it's time consuming and tedious work. And so they don't often have the time or the resources for it, or it might not be in their business, their strike zone.
Right.
So they outsource that to other people to manage for them. And basically you just post stuff to their social media feeds throughout the day. You find articles, memes, etc. And you can find jobs like that on Upwork.com, Upwork. I didn't say that very clearly. Freelancer.com is another one, and Fiverr.com also has jobs for that. A growing need is for video and podcast transcription and translation services. We get a lot of requests for transcriptions on our videos, both in English and in Spanish. Unfortunately, it's too expensive. You guys charge too much. It would cost us about $500 a month to do transcriptions in both English and Spanish. And we just can't afford that.
No, that's not in our budget now.
But yes, but there are a lot of large channels and podcasts out there that do have enough money to cover that cost, and they really want to make sure they hit the market for hearing impaired and foreign language speakers. And it's also really helpful for SEO. It gets your videos discovered more and your podcasts if there's a transcription file associated with it, because it makes it easier to index for the search engines.
Cool. That sounds like that might be a fun job.
Yeah, so if you know how to type fast and accurately, that's a really good option.
Yeah.
There's a lot of need for that. And there's a website called rev.com, R-E-V.com, where you can get gigs for doing transcriptions. And Fiverr.com also has transcription and translation jobs.
Wow, Fiverr's got lots.
They have everything. The next one is telemarketing and customer service. Because we have reliable internet, you can use voice over IP like on Magic Jack or Skype. And you can make telemarketing calls or customer service calls from pretty much anywhere in the world as long as you have a good internet connection.
Yes.
And a thick skin. Not something I would want to do, but we actually employed a telemarketer who lived in the Dominican Republic a few years ago to make cold calls for us to get web design leads. And they had lived in Costa Rica for 6 months, but they said it was too rainy for them. So they left.
Heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, but they lived in Southern California, couldn't afford it. So he and his wife moved to the Dominican Republic, and they do telemarketing from there, and they make a decent living at it there.
Yeah, and you would have never known that they were in another country.
No, you wouldn't.
Never.
Nope, he advertised. I found him on Craigslist, and he just advertised in all the major metros saying that he does telemarketing. And I called him up. He's a good guy, and he was good on the phone.
Yeah.
So, that's an option. You can also teach English online. This is what a lot of our friends here in Cuenca do.
Yeah, we know several people that teach online.
They teach English to Chinese kids in the middle of the night. Actually, it's really early in the morning or late at night.
The hours are a little kooky, but that makes sense because, of course, they're halfway around the world.
Yeah, but that's a really good way. And there's a website called VIPkid.com, and we'll link that in the blog post. And that's what we've heard the best things about. There's several websites that do this, though. And you can make quite a bit, like between $14 and $22 per hour doing this.
Yeah, the salaries are definitely higher for that.
Yep.
You just have to be flexible with your time.
Yeah, you have to be willing to get up early or stay up late.
Right.
All right, so there are lots of other online gig type things that you can do. Just go check some of these websites like Fiverr.com, Freelancer, Upwork, etc. And you can peruse the types of jobs, and there might be something on there that you can do already you didn't even think about charging for.
Oh, that's a really good point. I mean, there's no way we could list
Go over
everything. And, well, there's so much we don't know So we definitely want to hear from you all and let us know what your ideas are.
Yeah, if you do something different or have a different idea, put that in the comments and we'll add that to the blog post
Yeah,
so
that'd
that
be
other
really
people
interesting.
can think about it for themselves.
Yes.
All right, so once you get to your expat destination, you might want to consider starting a business. So we know a lot of expats in Cuenca who own their own business.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's such a strong entrepreneurial spirit here.
There really
Love it.
is. It is entrepreneurial spirit among the Ecuadorians and the expats. So here are just a few of the businesses that we know that are owned by expats. So we've got Cuenca Expats Magazine, and we interviewed Ed for that.
Ed Lindquist.
Ed Lindquist in one of our previous videos. I'll link that up there so you can go watch that if you want to. There's also Cuenca High Life, the Cuenca Dispatch. These are online, or these are magazines / newspapers, online blogs about Cuenca. There's San Sebas Cafe and Namaste India. You don't have to be from America to be an expat. That's owned by Indian expats. Double D's Delights. That's a catering business. They do a lot of desserts and stuff. Bodie Burgers, Daisy's Pet Food, Altissimo Chocolate, Artesana Panaderia. That's owned by some Venezuelan expats who moved here several years ago and started their bakery. And we love their bread. VIP Home Healthcare of Cuenca, and I'm going to link that up there too, so you can go watch the video that we did interviewing them about their home healthcare business that they started. Vino and Van Gogh is like a canvas and cocktails business that's here in Ecuador, in Cuenca, and that's very popular with the expats.
It is.
And then Madre Tierra and Villa de los Sueños are resorts that are owned by expats.
Yeah, there's a wide variety of expat businesses out here.
Yeah.
Like the Tribal Fusion House, where I take my belly
The
dance
Tribal
lessons.
Fusion House. That Julio is a Chilean expat.
That's right. That is really, really cool. I love it.
It is, yeah. So we also know massage therapists, people that do Reiki, yoga. I mean, you name it, there's people here doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's how they earn their money. Also blogging and vlogging. We know other bloggers and vloggers who make money doing this.
Yes, we do. It's not just us.
It's not just us, I know. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do to start your business, to start a business living abroad. A lot of things we take for granted back in the States or in Europe. Sometimes some of those things just aren't available here, and there's a market for it. They just haven't made it here yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a lot of businesses already started by expats, but there's a lot more opportunity for that. Oh, I forgot Jungle Gym.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many.
There's a lot.
I don't have to keep this list updated. I've got this whole list on our blog, so if you want to go research these companies, you can. Once you have all of this stuff in your head, then you got to decide what you want to do.
That can be the hardest part, but that is the most important thing. Don't get analysis paralysis.
No, you got to just try stuff.
You do.
The best piece of advice I can give you on this is do what you already know.
Yeah, unless you have a lot of time and you want to learn something new and you're not really worried about making money. Agreed.
Yeah, but the whole point of this is making
Stick
money
within
living
your
abroad.
skill set.
The whole point of this, though, is making money living abroad.
Right.
So if you're not interested in making money, why are you watching this video? Do what you already know, because if you want to make money at it tomorrow, you needed to start several years ago. So it could be a hobby or your career. It doesn't have to be, the job you've always done. It could be a hobby that you enjoy doing, like photography.
Right.
If you're good at it, if people ask you for advice about it, you can probably start a business or find gigs doing that. So, but you need to know what you're doing already. Don't come here expecting to learn a new skill or something. Like if you can't type, don't worry about applying for transcription jobs. That's a good point. If you're a hunt and pecker like this,
it would be very painful for you.
The transcription's probably not the ideal thing. Neither is web design. There's lots of typing in web design. Do what you already know how to do. And then you need to identify if there's a demand for what you want to do. Not a need. There's a difference between a need and a demand.
Right.
The demand is people are willing to part with their money for the service or the product. A need is there might be a need for something, like there's a need for more neutering services here in Ecuador, but there's a cultural bias against removing the manlyhood from the male dogs. So there's not much of a need for it. There's a big need for it, but there's no demand for it. Nobody wants to pay for it. So there are neutering services, but almost all of them are volunteer.
Yeah, because they're very low cost.
Yeah, usually free or very low cost. So that's the difference between a need and a demand. There's a need for that, but no demand for it. So pick something that people are willing to pay for. And then determine if you have what it takes to do, like, especially your own business. It's not for everyone.
Working remotely is not for everyone.
It's not.
I've been doing this for a long time. When I was in regional sales, I had a home office. But I know a lot of people that are not comfortable unless they have more of a structured work environment.
You also need to consider multiple streams of income as an option.
Yeah, we think about this a lot because there's always uncertainty and it's a little scary to have all your eggs in one basket. Having lost my job before, I know what that's like.
Yeah, it
when
kinda
suddenly
sucks.
your only stream of income is gone.
Yeah, so we have Amelia's job, we have my web design clients, and we also have our Patreon that's helping us survive and
Yes.
earn a living here. And we also know people who teach English online and they do yoga instruction or fitness training. They write articles. I mean, there's
all sorts
a lot
of
of people do multiple things here.
There's all sorts of things you can do to, make a little bit here, a little bit there. But when you add it all up, you're making a really nice living.
Yeah. And if one of them goes away, you're not destitute.
Right. And you can try a couple different things and figure out what's the best fit. Like it's funny how things work out. You may realize, well, I need to go in this direction when I was thinking I wanted to go in that direction. So it certainly cannot hurt to start things off with multiple streams of income.
And the final thing we want to talk about is that we want to encourage you to start before you leave home.
Most definitely. You're going to have so many other things to consider moving to another country. There's going to be the language, getting your visas, getting all settled in, learning the culture, just learning your way around a new city, a new country, everything. So don't make it even more difficult for yourself by deciding to start a new business right then and there on top of it. You want some stability. Or you're going to go crazy.
Or to start getting online work. I mean, it's great if you start now. You can also supplement your current income if you still have a job, or start earning some income if you don't. And then when you come here, you hit the ground running with your income stream already intact. And if you want to start a business when you get here, you can do a lot of the legwork and research before you get here. And a lot of the businesses, like for the links that we have in our blog, you can contact these people. A lot of them will be really forthcoming with information about what they went through to start their business.
Absolutely.
And what it took, how much it costs, how to market. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs really enjoy helping other aspiring entrepreneurs. Like Amelia said earlier, if you have any other ideas for online work or working remotely that we haven't talked about here or that you do, leave those in the comments and we'll add those into our blog post.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd like to hear more from you all about what you guys see out there in the world. Your viewpoint compared to ours.
Yeah, and if you liked our video, leave us a thumbs up.
Yes, please.
And please share it with your friends if they're looking for ways to make more money online or if they want to work remotely.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think we're done for today. It's a long video.
Yes, we like to talk.
We are talkers.
Although you talked more in this one.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
This is my field.
It is.
Amelia's been an employee. I've been an entrepreneur most of my whole life. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.
tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth.